Whether they're face-to-face or virtual, sales conversations are not a sideline sport. In this episode of Virtual Selling Concrete Results, I'm going to help you make it a participative sport or endeavor. Think about the last sporting event or any entertainment event that you watched, and the key word is watch. I watched a Milwaukee Bucks basketball game with my husband last week, and in the last minutes as the game got intense, I was observing John, and his legs were fidgeting, and he was making shooting motions, and audibly he was saying things like, "No," and get on that," and my favorite is, "Look before passing the ball." You see, John is an amateur basketball player for many, many years, and he doesn't like to just watch, he wants to play. It's the same with our buyers. In a good sales conversation, collaboration is king, and buyers want to be involved. They don't want to sit idly watching you give a pitch or presentation. And if they do, it's probably because they aren't engaged and they are going to sit back and be a sideline judge, judging whether you have provided the outcome or not whether you have done it together. In our sales conversations, buyers don't want to sit idly by. The conversation should be about them, and they want to participate. Research is very clear on that. They want to be involved, which means our efforts in involving them throughout the entire conversation is what is going to lead them through their decision-making process to make confident decisions, or not. After we've earned the right to share information about how we can work together and about our solution, how then do we include them and make sure that they are involved, even when we're talking about us and what we do? That's what I'm going to share. How do you include their minds, their hands, their mouths, and their hearts? Let's start with involving their minds. Keep the buyer mentally engaged by ensuring anything that you're talking about is relevant to them and is connected to something that you've learned about them or into what's in it for them that maybe they didn't understand or they don't make that connection easily themselves. Make the conversion from fact or data into, and here's what it means for you, or in your situation, this is what it would look like. And every time you include that word you or the word your, you get them mentally back and engaged instead of passively listening to something that you're talking about. Also involve them by including their hands. Whether you're virtual or not, you can get them touching your solution or touching what you're talking about. So think about it. You can ask people, take a note on this. This is important. You're going to want to reference this later. Or asking them to pick up a piece of paper or something that you've sent them in advance. Can you get them touching something on their phone if you want them to look up or access an app or something you're demoing? Get their hands on the keyboard or on the screen. Use a screen share and allow them to play by adding their name to something or navigating in some way. You can also include their mouths, which is the audible participation part. Everybody knows that asking questions early in a sales conversation is important. That's how we earn the right to get to talk about ourselves. But we need to continue to look for a 50-50 talk-listen ratio as we're explaining what we do. And we do that using feedback questions and clarifying questions. So we can continue to ask them for information that maybe they wouldn't have answered earlier, or allows them to clarify information for themselves. And if it's more than one person, have some additional understanding or agreement on things before moving forward. Ask plenty of feedback questions. These are the questions that as you're discussing what you can do, what you will do, you get them giving you their opinion, their thoughts, their feelings, and their questions throughout versus saving it along the way. So every 2 to 3 minutes, make sure that you're asking them, how does that sound to you? What do you think? How does that feel? How does this compare to what you've done in the past? How does this compare to what you were expecting from me? What are your questions? And what can I make clearer or more understandable for you? Listen to that last question. How can I make something more clear or understandable for you? Instead of asking does this make sense? which many, many people ask during their sales conversations, where you're putting the responsibility on them for understanding what you've said to them and possibly making them feel awkward or not wanting to admit that they don't understand something. We're taking responsibility and giving them an out. And last but not least, don't forget to include their hearts. While you can't pick up the physical energy, you can involve the emotions that are so important in a sale. Use anecdotes, analogies, stories, examples, and ongoing questions to address the emotional component that really is what makes the decision or not. Tie it into what you learned about their fears, about the risks that they want to avoid or eliminate. Tie it into the rewards or the benefits, the better state of where they want to go. That is what's going to allow them to feel confident in making a decision to move forward or not. And there you have it. 4 easy ways to virtually include and involve your buyer along the way in your sales conversation as you discuss your solution. When done well, your buyer won't even realize they weren't ever physically present with you. Including the buyer throughout the conversation keeps them engaged and stops them from becoming a sideliner of a game, show, or event where they wish they were participating. And look for the next episode where I'm going to explain how to virtually and collaboratively work through objections.